Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Bastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namani. Namaste. Excuse me. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachaline Nivasisha Sunyavadi Pashtatyada Satarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Okay, Hare Krishna, let me bring up the book. We have Bhagavatamrta, share, and there you have it. Okay, so today we're starting on text 96, continuing reading. I think it was Brahma Samhita was being quoted, glorification of Goloka Vrindavan. Okay, someone like to kick off?
Oh, I got a little question. I was reading something. Is it okay?
Yes.
Ask the question. About the four Kumaras and how they saw Lord Vishnu in his beauties described. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was thinking that, when you meditating on the two form, is it wrong to have more devotion for the two arm forms, not, four-arm form?
And the four-arm form. No, it's not wrong. It's personal taste.
Okay.
No, it's not wrong. And for us, Gaudiya Vaishnavas, as we discussed many times, that's our sadhya, that's our goal, is Krishna, the two-arm form. It's not Vishnu.
Yes.
So Krishna has an extraordinary sweetness about him. Okay, Lord of Vishnu is very sweet, no doubt. But
Yeah.
Krishna has an exceptionally personified sweetness about him that attracts the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And he's also the Swayam Rupa. He is the original form from which Vishnu emanates. So there's nothing wrong with that at all.
And then another talk was that, but you shouldn't be feeling like that, because what if you end up going to Vaikuntha? You should be,
Well, our stages, attraction to Vishnu in our general practice of devotional service and generally speaking, yeah, we can hear about Vishnu and there's descriptions about Vishnu in the Srimad Bhagavatam. There's beautiful descriptions about his form, about the super soul as well. But as one advances and one begins to develop, or one advances through the stages of bhakti, then as one's attraction becomes more specific, then one will naturally spend more time hearing about their specific or the specific form or whom they're desiring to serve in a specific way. But that will come later in devotee spiritual development. So yeah, it doesn't mean when we get to the parts in Srimad Bhagavatam that describe about Vishnu that we don't read it.
Yeah.
No, read about it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, great.
All right. Okay, I'm going to be greedy. I'm going to start reading. I hope you don't mind. Hare Krishna. Furthermore, how pious are the tracts of land in Vraj, for there the primeval personality of Godhead, disguising himself with human traits, wanders about, enacting his many pastimes, adorned with wonderfully variegated. Did I press record? I did, yeah.
Yeah.
Adorned with wonderfully variegated forest garlands, Lord Krishna, whose feet are worshipped by Lord Shiva and the goddess Rama, vibrates his flute and tends the cows in the company of Balaram. Commentary. Starting with this verse, the next 59 verses, 59 verses to come from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Of these first 11, text 96 through 106, establish in a general way the glories of Vraja Bhumi and its residents. The current verse, 10:44-13, Srimad Bhagavatam, was spoken by the women of Mathura city. Krishna had just arrived from Mathura, from Nanda Gokula. Early that morning, he had killed the elephant Kurvalyapida, and now, as the women watched, he was wrestling with Chunora, shocked to see such an unfair competition between powerful athletes and little boys. Some of the women sharply criticized their friends and the other people present. Mahan ayam batadama esham raja shravastasadam ye bala balavat yutha rajno nivanchanti pashyataha. Alas, what a greatly irreligious act the members of this royal assembly are committing. As the king watches this fight between the strong and the weak, these assembly members also want to see it. Yeah. Krishna was wrestling with Chanora and Mustika, Krishna and Balaram. Other outraged women spoke the verse under discussion, in which they declared that only Vraja Bhumi is a pious place, unlike the metropolis of Mathura. The women referred to Vraja Bhuvaha in the plural to offer Vraja respect, to indicate its large extent, and to include not only the land of Vraja, but all its living beings, even the sticks, stones, and other inert objects. In Vraja, Sri Krishna is visible to everyone's eyes in all his charm, wandering about to enjoy his many different pastimes. As the speakers of this verse described that scene, they thought, this assembly in which Krishna is being threatened with defeat should be condemned. But the land of Vraj, where Krishna moves about and plays, is pious. The people of that place are good, but the residents of this city are not. Taken in that sense, it indicates that Krishna honors the people of Vraj by his presence. While speaking this verse, the women used the pronoun I, this, and one of them pointed her finger towards Krishna. The women avoided saying Krishna's name because they considered him like their own husband. A chaste woman does not speak of her husband by name. And because they were afraid that if they pronounced his name out loud, they may lose control of themselves in ecstasy. Amazing how many details that Sanatana Goswami is fanning out from this verse, what he's seeing in this verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Just in this verse, he's seeing so much. Someone hearing the women condemn Mathura might assert that from the authoritative prediction of the Venerable Rishi Garga, it was already known that Krishna would become the master of Mathura. Yeah, so what he worried about, it's already there. Rishi Garga has already said he's going to become the master of Mathura. There's no, it will not happen that they become defeated. But this is the ecstasy of loving affection. Because these must be more senior ladies, I would think, not the same age as the gopis, so they have a mood of vatsalya, bhav towards Krishna. That would be my guess here. So they're feeling for his protection. Although, I guess even
they won't take his name. That means they were taking him as a husband. Just the previous paragraph.
Yeah, this is what Sanatana Goswami is saying, that they felt that affection for him. Yeah, it's saying, yeah, so you're right. So perhaps they're not, but I guess just backtracking, I guess even the gopis feel, yeah, because the gopis, they have the highest rasa, which includes all the other rasas. So the gopis will also feel a protective affection for Krishna. Yeah, but also they have an intimate, they have more intimate exchanges with Krishna, but they will feel, and there's verses that describe that, isn't it? When they think of Krishna in the Gopi Gita, they are distraught with distress at the thought of Krishna walking barefoot in a forest of Vraj and his feet being pricked by thorns, etc. And they just want to place those feet on their breasts, rather to relieve him from the pain that he might feel. Yeah. So they have this sense of divine Krishna being, divine protection for Krishna. So wives also here in their mood. But anyway, Krishna's not going to be killed. That's what Garga Rishi said. So then that city then and all its residents gathered at the assembly were destined to become very fortunate. As unavoidable as this truth might have been, the women of Mathura still insisted that Vraja Bhumi is the only truly pious place. So yeah, what is this place? How can this happen? This is wrong. Everyone here is wrong. It's wrong. This shouldn't be happening. Look at these wrestlers. Look at Krishna's delicate limbs. How it's not right. It's an outrage. This place is condemned. So they get in a great bar of ecstasy, Krishna, the primal Lord and all living beings, is realized by spiritual aspirants in countless ways. He is the super soul dwelling in every creature's heart, and his feet are worshipped by Lord Shiva and the goddess Mahalakshmi. That is Rama, yeah, in the verse. Even so, in Brhad, he disguises himself as an ordinary human being. To deceive enemies like Kamsa, he hides his prowess, and to enjoy with his devotees, he hides in the bushes of Vrindavan. In Vraja, Krishna wears all sorts of garlands made with forest flowers. He is always accompanied by Phala, his older brother Balaram, or by forces, Bala, an army of friends. Krishna herds his cows, plays on his flute, and enjoys the rasa dance and other pastimes with his devotees. But the residents of Mathura think of Krishna differently. Mathura's eminent Kshatriyas, steeped in knowledge of the Smritis and Shrutis, always see Krishna as the timeless personality of Godhead, an attitude that prevents them, long purple, from having more intimate relationships with him. Okay, so they have a sense of awe and reverence, which is not there in Vraj. They and the other residents of Mathura, seeing him as Vasudeva, the Lord in the heart, feel no urgent need to have him always present before them outside the heart. Read that again. They and the other residents of Mathura, seeing him as Vasudeva, the Lord in the heart, feel no urgent need to have him always present before them outside the heart. Generally, the devotees of Mathura envision Krishna with 4 arms and all the other opulent features of the Supreme Lord. And they remember how he is worshipped by Lord Shiva and other demigods. Consequently, they cannot realize the same fullness of prema as the devotees of Vrindavan. Yeah. So they have prema, but not the same fullness of prema. In Vrindavan, all the Vrajvasis are always so eager to see Krishna that they cannot tolerate being absent from him even for a moment. They forever see him in his most attractive human-like form, and their love for him is always fully awakened. Thinking of him as a darling son of Nanda and Yasoda. Yeah, they don't think of him as God. They think of him as a darling son of Nanda and Yasoda. Yeah. They feel for him the sweetest of sentiments. Their relationships with him are a treasure so precious and confidential. They feel that their lives depend upon protecting it. Worshipping him in various intimate ways, they enjoy the extreme limits of happiness. Certainly they are more fortunate than anyone else, and so the land where they live is naturally the most fortunate of places. Of course, the Yadavas of Mathura are great Vaishnavas, situated on the transcendental platform of love of God. But Krishna never appears among them decorated with wonderful garlands of forest flowers, as he does among the Vrajavasis. And even if by his royal wealth he does sometimes acquire such garlands in the big city of Mathura, we cannot expect to see him tending cows there. And even if he owns a royal herd of cows and sometimes plays at taking care of them, how in Mathura can he always be in the company of Balaram? Very often, one or the other of the two transcendental brothers has to go somewhere else to carry out these duties. And in Mathura, how can Krishna play with all the young cowherd boys? The young Yadus may sometimes dress up as cowherd boys in games to imitate Krishna's friends in Vraj. But even then, in Mathura, Krishna doesn't play his flute, nor does he exhibit the many special pastimes unique to Vraj, like his Ras Leela. By using the word Kridaya with his playful pastimes, the speakers of this verse hinted at Krishna's Ras dance, but due to feminine shyness, they avoided mentioning it by name. Anyone can tell us what's the four specific characteristics that distinguish, or was four that is brought up in Nectar of Devotion, that distinguishes Krishna from Vishnu?
Playing flute.
Flute, Venu Madhurya, that's one.
Then
Leela Madhurya,
Leela Madhurya, two.
Prem Madhurya,
Prema Madhurya, three. And Bhakta Madhurya, is it? The devotees.
Go back, waiting peacock. No.
Yeah, is that right?
yeah, but it's some different name. Different
Yeah.
name.
Yeah. But all of these four, they are specifically exhibited in Vrindavan, in Vraj. Yeah. Okay, so Lord Vishnu, well, one, the flute. Now, Lord Vishnu doesn't play the flute. You never see a picture of four-armed Vishnu playing two flutes. It's only Krishna. And the Pacific also, yeah, well, you could go on to speak about the melodies of that flute. But then we have the pastimes. Does Vishnu have Leela?
Bit more in reverence, isn't he?
Yeah, he has things he does. He has exchanges with his loving devotees there in Vaikuntha. But the type of loving exchanges and Leela that he exchanges with the residents of Raj, knowing him just to be the darling son of Mavi Yasoda and Nanda Maharaj, the type of Leela, it has an extraordinary intimate sweetness about it, which cannot be found in the pastimes of Vishnu. So, and then the devotees, Leela Madhurya, Venu Madhurya, Rupa Madhurya. This one, isn't it? Rupa Madhurya.
Madhurya.
Yeah. So he's
Prem Madhurya.
yeah.
Prem Madhurya is for the devotees.
Yeah. So those in Vaikuntha have prema, but the specific type of prema that the residents of Raj have for Krishna is very, very, very special. It isn't the same. It's, what did it say? It's more full, wouldn't it? We read that. And so then we have these and his devotees, the devotees are endowed with a special kind of relationship with Krishna. And that's going to be, I'm just looking ahead, that's in this rest of this commentary. So that you can't find in Vaikuntha. Okay. The last phrase of this verse states that Krishna's feet are worshipped by Garitra Rama, Lord Shiva and Mahalakshmi. But there is another way to understand these words. A way that shows careful regard for the consistency of the verse as glorification of Vraja Bhumi. While Krishna held Govardhan Hill, Srimati Radharani freed him from the danger of dropping the mountain by relieving him of his fatigue with her loving glance. Huh. That's nice, isn't it? Nice description. Relieved Krishna of his fatigue by her loving glance. Thus she, the original goddess of fortune, Rama, yeah, she's the origin of Rama, was mentioned above, saved him from the mountain. Giritra. That's Sanatana Goswami's explanation. So it's Radharani who saved everyone. Yeah. Because she, by looking at Krishna, she relieved him of the fatigue. Of course, was Krishna feeling fatigue?
No.
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 But in his human leela. Yeah. And because Radha gives pleasure to that Govardhandari, she is called Giritra Rama. She worships Krishna's feet, but only in Braj. So Braj alone is pious. By recounting the glories of Sri Goloka, Parikshit Maharaj realized such an advanced level of prema that he felt the ecstatic mood of the women of Mathura Puri, and in this frame of mind, he sang this verse. Okay, so Mars Parikshit now verse directly from Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. Anyone else like to pick up the reading? Of course, any comments, questions, welcome to make. No.
I can read.
Yeah, please. Thank you, Mom.
O Almighty Lord, how greatly fortunate are the cows and the ladies of Vrindavan, taking the form of their cows and children. You have happily drunk to your full satisfaction the nectar of their best milk. All the Vedic sacrifices performed from the time immemorial up to the present day have not given you as much satisfaction. Commentary. Text 97 through to 108 form the final part of Lord Brahma's prayers to Krishna in Vrindavan, Bhagavatam 10:14:31 to 40. While in Vrindavan, Brahma witnessed the unlimited mercy of Krishna and bathed in the ras of Krishna's omnipotence. And after Krishna removed the misgivings from Brahma's heart, Brahma was also able to taste the ras fully. So Brahma now understands that the greatest way one can praise the personality of Godhead is simply to describe the unlimited glories of his devotees and devotional service. From the very beginning of his life, Brahma had prayed to the Supreme Lord for bhakti, the most fortunate of goals, but only now that he has received the special mercy of Krishna in Vrindavan has the true greatness of the Vrajvasis been revealed to him. Now that he has some idea of just how much they cherish Krishna, he hopes to obtain the same kind of bhakti they have, and he claims them the Supreme Lord's most fortunate devotees. First, he mentions the greatness of the gopis and cows who serve as Krishna's mothers by giving him their milk. The interjection, aho, expresses great surprise, and the prefix, ati, in the word of ati dhyana, indicates that the good fortune of these mothers is extraordinary. By sucking Krishna, the ladies and the cows of Vrindavan, of Vraj, please him. And so their glories give pleasure to the entire universe. The motherly gopis are referred to after the cows because the mothers are even more fortunate. Why? Because even though Krishna is not fully satisfied by all the Ashwamedh yagnas and all other sacrifices performed since the creation of the universe by great demigods and sages like Brahma himself, he is satisfied at every moment by drinking the milk of these mothers. Exalted devas and rishis are expert in gratifying anyone they choose to favor, but they cannot fully satisfy Krishna. Krishna assumed the form of the cows and the sons of all those mothers in Vraj just so he could drink their milk. By using the past tense pitam, Brahma implies that the time for that special arrangement has come to an end. For the cows and boys he had stolen have now returned to their mothers. The word ativa, fully, can be understood to be connected either with the preceding word pitam, has been drunk, or the following word muda, with satisfaction. Because of the unlimited affection Krishna has for his devotees, he drank the milk of all those mothers very much, and he drank with great pleasure. By addressing Krishna with the word Vibho, O infinite Lord, Brahma establishes that even during the time Krishna assumed the forms of cows and calf herding boys, he remained unlimited. The word Vibho also describes Krishna as endowed with supreme mystic power, by which he remains the unlimited absolute truth, even when he appears in limited sizes to entertain his devotees. Krishna can easily do what is ordinarily impossible. Although it would have been most appropriate to describe first the glories of the best of Krishna's beloved devotees, Srimati Radharani and her companions, Brahma does not do so because he has not yet realized how extraordinary is the rasa of the gopis' love for Krishna. Since knowledge of the gopis' supreme devotion has not yet awakened in Brahma's heart, he does not pray for elevation to their standard of bhakti. In Vrindavan, Brahma could see Krishna only in the form of Bal Gopal. So when he begins his prayers, he addresses Krishna as the son of a cowherd with small tender feet, not as Gopinath, the lord of the gopis. Besides, despite being Krishna's oldest servant, Brahma thinks of himself as Krishna's son, so he naturally wants to avoid intruding into Krishna's amorous affairs. As Parikshit Maharaj sang these 10 verses, he felt in his own heart the moods of Sri Brahma, the spiritual master of all classes of Vaishnavas.
Okay.
Really?
Amazing, yeah.
Mhm.
Sanatana Goswami is giving commentary on these verses on Srimad Bhagavatam, is bringing out so many details. Yeah, so he's also opening up for us the mood of Maharaj Parikshit. So he's now singing these 10 verses. And he felt the mood of Lord Brahma. Interesting how Lord Brahma doesn't have the aspiration for Gopi or Manjari Bhav. That's described here. He wasn't not fully aware, but he he's not realized how extraordinary is the rasa of the gopis' love for Krishna, and he thinks himself as Krishna's son. Okay. Anyone, any comments, or someone like to read on text 98?
Sorry, Prabhu, I've got the wrong glasses on today.
No problem. No problem.
Right.
I can read.
Go ahead, yeah. So don't forget, Mars Parikshit in great ecstasy now is speaking. And
So Brahma thinks of Krishna as baby Krishna. He meditates on baby Krishna.
yeah, Balagopal. That's how he addresses Krishna, the son of a cowherd with small tender feet, not Gopinath.
Yeah.
Gopinath means the Lord of the Gopis, not the life of the Gopis. Gopinath. And interesting, we think of Mars Parikshit, he's in great ecstasy. I think at this point he's only got a few hours to live. His time is running out quickly. You know, this is the end of Bhagavatam, and now this Brihad Bhagavatam one. And the snake is coming to kill him. It's probably on its way.
Oh.
He's in great ecstasy. He doesn't care. I think he says, let whatever mystical bird it is, let it come.
Yeah.
Come. I have no concern. I have no fear. So he had already gone back to Godhead anyway. He was so absorbed in the Leela that Sukadeva Goswami was speaking, that he was so absorbed that he was unaware. He was already gone back to Godhead mentally.
Okay.
Yeah, go on.
Then why do, I mean, I see gurus and that they want to carry on as long as they can, instead of, from what I hear.
Because they get they get a sweetness from preaching.
Preaching, yes.
Yeah, sweetness, a very special sweetness for preaching the glories of the Lord. It's irresistible. That's why Nanda Maharaja's often prayer that he expresses is that he's quite happy to come back and preach and take part in the preaching mission. And he often says that. Whether Krishna will see it, this case is up to Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
That's like Srila Prabhupada. He was he was offered to come to or somewhere in America, down in Florida somewhere, where they have really wonderful mangoes. But it would interrupt his preaching plans, especially go to Russia, I think at the time, if I've got the timeline right. But Prabhupada said that famous quote where he said, preaching in Russia is more sweeter than any mango. More sweet than any mango. So that's the devotees, they get so much sweetness and so enlivened by speaking about Krishna that going back to Godhead may not be it depends on the mood of the devotee. Anyway, anyone else? Any comments on that? Yeah. Okay. Ha bhagyam how wonderful, how wonderful. Go on, yeah.
I was more thinking, I don't mind the snake coming, and I go, now, enough.
Look out, look out. Look out when you say that type of thing.
I know, just go back home to a normal life, And so packing bags, going here, going there, this retreat, that retreat.
Well, perhaps you might not be ready yet. Krishna got some more prep to do.
Yes. That's why he kept me longer here. Anyway, text 98.
The reason he kept you longer here was the same that Gopal Kumar couldn't go back to Godhead until he heard Bhagavatam and the Brhad Bhagavatamrta.
Yes.
So Krishna said, no, you can't go back. You got to hear the whole Brhad Bhagavatamrta.
Before you even think about it. Yes, true.
Yes.
Okay, text 98. How greatly fortunate are Nanda Maharaj, the cowherd man, and all the other inhabitants of Vraja Bhumi. There is no limit to their good fortune, because the All Absolute, the source of transcendental bliss, the eternal Supreme Brahman, has become their friend. Krishna acts for the benefit of Vrajavasis, not just in certain situations, but always. And he not only delivers them from fear, but also provides for them the highest varieties of ecstasy. Thus, he is the source of their intense happiness, and they consider him their dearmost friend. Were he merely God, their love for him would be severely restricted. But Krishna at once is both the supreme absolute truth and the dear friend of the residents of Nanda's cowherd village.
Yeah. So if he were merely God, their love would be restricted. Okay.
Text 99. Yet even though the extent of the good fortune of these residents of Vrindavan is inconceivable, we 11 presiding deities of the various senses, headed by Lord Shiva, are also most fortunate, because the senses of these devotees of Vrindavan are the cups through which we repeatedly drink the nectarine intoxicating beverage of the honey of the lotus feet.
Of your lotus feet.
Of your lotus feet.
Okay, let's see how Sanatana Goswami gives a commentary on this verse. Go on.
In the material world, Lord Shiva is the deity who presides over every individual's ego, and Chandra and 9 others demigods preside over everyone's mind and other senses. These 11 demigods are very fortunate because they perceive through the ego, intelligence, mind, eyes, ears, skin, tongue, nose, speech, hands, and the feet of every Vrajvasi. The nectar comes from Krishna's lotus feet. These demigods witness how the Vrajvasis use their ego to identify themselves as servants of Krishna, their intelligence to make up their minds to act always for his satisfaction, their eyes to see him, their tongues to chant, and their ears to hear his glories.
Okay, so now I understand more what this verse is speaking about. So you understand here? All the demigods, as we know, in some type of form, manifest like here, the ego, the intelligence, the mind, eyes, skin, is all presiding demigods. So they're present in that sense. So in the Vrajvasis, because they're focused on Krishna, they're experiencing Krishna. They're experiencing great bliss. So they're very happy that the residents of Vraj are using the whole beings and being absorbed in Krishna. You get the idea?
Yeah.
So they're witnessing how the Vrajvasis, as it says here. Yeah.
There's 2 separate entities. One is Vrajvasis and other is demigods. So how do
but what's being described here is that the demigods are in part represented by the senses, etc., the eyes, skin, tongue, and nose of the Vrajvasis. So all of these are experiencing Krishna, the eyes, the ears, the skin, tongue, I guess, that remnants from Krishna, the nose, the speech, their hands. They're all interacting with Krishna. So therefore the demigods get some prashadam from that. Because they're expanding all these, they've expanded in these aspects of the residence of another, if I'm understanding this correctly.
I was thinking it in a way like, Amrish Maharaj is using all his senses, right?
Yes, Savayamana Krishna. Yeah.
So then, so that's what I'm thinking. All these demigods, like you said, are the senses using in Krishna's service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just say this sentence, the 11 demigods, these 11 demigods, which has been mentioned, are very fortunate because they perceive through the ego, the sense of identity, intelligence, mind, eyes, ears, skin, tongue, nose, speech, hands, and feet of every Vrajvasi, the nectar coming from Krishna's lotus feet. Okay, okay, continue.
The Vrajvasis experience Krishna's lotus feet to be Amrita, immortal nectar, and also Asav, extremely invigorating to their senses, Ashva. Or we can understand these words in another way. The Vrajvasi perceive his lotus feet to be Asav, the beverage extremely intoxicating, even for those who are Amrita, liberated souls beyond birth and death. This implies that the nectar of Krishna's feet provides pleasure even greater than the joy of liberation. Because the demigods preside over the various senses, each demigod has the opportunity through the one sense he oversees to serve Krishna by one of the many methods of devotional service. If the demigods attain the success of their lives merely by offering themselves to Krishna in this partial way, how can anyone describe the good fortune of the Vrajavasis, who use all the senses to serve Krishna in every way possible? The demigods take part in the sensory experience of every living being in the universe, but not even though the senses of other Vaishnavas can, the demigods relish the same nectar by the same nectar they receive through the senses of Vrajavasis. Certainly, therefore, the Vrajavasis are even greater than all other devotees of the Lord. Why does Brahma mention only 11 presiding deities of the senses, excluding the Supreme Lord Vasudeva, who rules over the consciousness, Chitta, of the conditional jivas? There are actually 13 such deities. One explanation is that because the functions of the anus and the genitals cannot be directly engaged in worship of the personality of Godhead, the presiding demigod of these two senses do not enjoy their share of nectar of Krishna's feet. The gopis may...
Imagine being a demigod, the presiding deity of the...
Yes, and then,
Your job is to be presiding deity of the things. Oh, thank you, Krishna.
And they feel miserable all the time because they can't enjoy. Yes.
Yeah, go on.
The gopis may engage their genitals in service of the Lord, but Brahma wants to avoid being impudent by discussing that subject.
Yeah.
Or alternatively, the demigod Vishnu, who presides over the feet, is an empowered incarnation of Lord Vasudeva. So by not counting him and Mitra, the deity of anus, we have 11 deities. Of course, because the residents of Vraj have purely spiritual bodies, their senses are not subject to material demigods. Yet, as we have earlier heard from Lord Shiva, the Vrajavasis imitate the behavior of ordinary materially embodied humans. At any rate, the Vaikuntha demigods, Chandra, Surya, and others who have spiritual bodies descend to earth to take part in Krishna's pastime in Vraj. Therefore, Brahma is not wrong to describe these demigods as being extremely fortunate by association with the Vrajavasis. It is an established fact that Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma have spiritual bodies. So we can accept that the other demigods, Brahma refers to have spiritual bodies also. Since a connection with the Vrajavasis makes the Vaikuntha demigods especially fortunate, we can deduce that the Vrajavasis are more exalted than anyone else.
Wow. I guess we should also appreciate as well, this is Sanatana Goswami, as we know, given commentary on his own writing, so to speak. But we can also appreciate that all this was in Sanskrit. And you can see it's very, very technical. That's what's being described. But Gopi Pranadana is his glory. And he's translated this into such a easy, readable flow, It's done a great service to the Vaishnava community by translating this from Sanskrit, especially not just the verses, but also the commentary. There's very subtle things are being brought out here, very detailed and very subtle details. With certain, even one word can make a whole difference to the actual meaning. In Sanskrit, one word has various meanings according to context. Then you got past, present, future tense. You got feminine pronouns, male, and so Gopi Pranadana to translate it. We should offer our respects to him, a great soul. All right. Let's read more. Anyone else like to read? Text 100.
I've got my glasses on, so I've got the right ones on.
Glasses. Great.
Text 100, did you say?
Yeah.
Okay. My greatest possible good fortune would be to take any birth, whatever, in this forest of Goloka, and have my Gokula, and have my head bathed by the dust falling from the lotus feet of any of its residents. Their entire life and soul is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mukunda, the dust of whose lotus feet is still being searched for in the Vedic mantras. Commentary. In this prayer, Brahma elaborates on the request he has already made. My dear Lord, I therefore pray to be so fortunate that in this life as Lord Brahma or in another life, wherever I take my birth, I may be counted as one of your devotees. I pray that wherever I may be, even among the animal species, I can engage in devotional service to your lotus feet. Bhagavatam 10:14-30. Lord Brahma would very gladly take birth again in this world, even as a blade of grass or other lowly being, and that blade of grass could even be in a wild forest, and that forest could even be a residence of cows and cowherds. The only condition Brahma insists on is that he always be able to serve Krishna's lotus feet. But couldn't Brahma serve Krishna comfortably in liberation or in a high position, such as a ruler of a universe? No. Brahma asserts he does not aspire for any such advantage. He is willing to neglect the goal of liberation and accept Janma, another birth, and rather than be born on some glorious planet of his own, he is willing to be born on this earth, Iha, and rather than in a big city or town, he is willing to be born in a forest, and rather than a tapovana, a forest where aesthetics go for their spiritual advancement, he is willing to belong to a simple cowherd village. And what would Brahma gain by trading his Satyaloka for a birth in Gokul? He would get the opportunity to bathe in the foot dust of one or another of Gokul's residents. Such as Abhishek would be equivalent to a bath in all the sacred waters of the universe, because Gokul is the supreme holy Tirtha. Such a coronation bath would be equivalent to being exalted, whatever position in this world he might desire. Why pray to take birth only as a creature who might be touched by the dust of the feet of Gokula Vasis? Why not ask for a birth as one of the cowherds in Gokul? To this question, Brahma replies that the Vedas have been searching for this dust from time of their birth, yet to this day have not obtained it. What to speak of birth as a cowherd? They are disqualified from achieving even this dust because they identify themselves with various conceptions of material life and engage people mainly in paths and disciples leading to material success. Disciplines leading to material success or impersonal liberation. And since Brahma is younger than the Vedas, who are his teachers, what hope can he have for obtaining dust from the feet of the Rajvasis? He can only pray for it. Here Brahma notes that Krishna, being eager to display fully his supreme power, beauty, charm, and compassion in his appearance on earth, is now more than ever Bhagavan, the eternal personality of Godhead. Thus he is called Mukunda, the giver of the topmost happiness of Prema. He is the life and soul of the residents of Raj, for in their lives no time passes, nor does any activity occur, either external or internal, in which he is not present, always submitting himself to their desires. Because Brahma, being much younger than the Vedas, considers himself their disciple, he is shy to even imagine becoming a discreet associate of Krishna.
A direct associate.
Becoming a direct associate of Krishna in Gokul. He thinks it inappropriate to pray for something that for him is impossible. In his opinion, if he were to submit such a prayer, just like a sickly, poverty-stricken person praying to become a king, people throughout the universe might laugh at him, a prospect that fills him with embarrassment.
Okay, it's a very interesting. Yeah.
I think it's really nice because how Brahma's feeling, the last sentence as well, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so sincere, isn't it?
Yeah, and
very humble.
how to take the dust of the lotus feet of Rajvasis and not to have higher position, to be, we're always saying that we should be humbler than a blade of grass. We should be so humble. This is the mood. This is the real mood.
Yeah, shy to even imagine becoming a direct associate of Krishna in Gokula.
Yeah.
Very interesting, because if we have the prayers of Narottam Das Thakur, also the prayers of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they aspire to have a specific relationship with Krishna. Okay, not a direct relationship, it's serving the servants. So they do have that specific desire, but the humility of Brahma here is manifesting that he doesn't want even to think about anything like that. He's just happy. If he can, happy to, be the dust which they walk on. There's also there's another devotee who also prays in this mood. You can tell us who it is?
Thakur does, even
No, I mean the mood of Lord Brahma.
Narottam Das Thakur?
No, Narottam Das Thakur, his actually aspiration is to be Manjari. You could say a kind of quite a close associate of Radharani. But Lord Brahma's not praying for that. He doesn't, he said he doesn't, for him it's impossible.
Narad-Muni?
No, I'm trying to think his name. Is it Uddhava?
Yes.
Uddhava prays to become dust.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, after he was sent to Raj.
Yeah, even dust, so he's similar to Lord Brahma. Yeah. This is the...
Could it be because Brahma already had such a high position and all this realization have come by being in that position? What do you think?
Well, from his perspective, he has quite a low position. And from the perspective of the Rajvasis, he's younger than the Vedas. Yeah.
No, in material.
Yeah, could be. I think it's just his humility, or considering how great the residents of Gokula are, considering the greatness and considering their intimate relationship with Krishna, he's thinking himself in such a humble way that he cannot even imagine such a relationship. So because he's become aware of how exalted they are, as Sanatana Goswami is expanding upon, that he thinks it's inappropriate to pray for something that is impossible.
And yet he's in such a high position himself.
Yeah. So he's a devotee. He's a devotee. Even a devotee may be in a materially powerful position. If they're actually devoted, they always think themselves as being insignificant.
Lowly.
Yeah, very insignificant and low. That's the mystery of the humility of a great Vaishnava. Although they're great, they think themselves very, very insignificant, and that's why they're so great. Because that's one of the reasons why they're so exalted, because they're so humble.
And yet there's Indra.
Yeah, there's Indra. He kind of loses the plot.
He won't do anything to lose his position.
Yeah, Indra becomes I think we can to facilitate Krishna's Leela. Indra
Yeah.
becomes he becomes intoxicated with the position and forgets himself, as we know.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's perhaps pause there. Let's not stop. Let's just pause. And we'll continue, and we'll press the pause button off again next Wednesday. Okay, we'll continue. So keep in mind that the same link that you have for today, you can use it each time for each Wednesday for Brhad Bhagavatamrta, okay?
Okay.
Shila Prabhupada ki